Hello! How are you doing? Oh no, I've revealed the surprise. You didn't see nothing. Alright. Welcome, and I'm starting the stream today with myself, large, because I have a very happy announcement to make. The stream is going HD, but before we do that, I just wanted to discuss um, there's never been a better time than right now to start a YouTube channel. I think, personally. There are so many big channels, many that we know about, some that we don't know about. And I'm going to show you a list that we have of ones that we do know about that have been taken over by private equity. Um, Now, this means that there's a really good opportunity because we know that private equity is muscling in on the YouTube space, and that means a lot of creators are going to change from their single person development cycle into a more broad, multifaceted, large team endeavor. So there is a what you would call a power vacuum, I suppose, left by all of these large creators that are becoming larger and losing some of their um, appeal that they had by being a single individual creator working on their own to produce their content. So I think right now is the perfect time to start a YouTube channel. We are moving into a world where more and more jobs are lost due to automation. Computer programming and graphic design and driving cars and operating machinery, and eventually all of the jobs will be taken, and all that we will have left to do as humans is share our humanness with other humans. And so I think that there's never been a better time than now. So do it. Even if you have a shitty webcam like this, uh, just do it. Just start. This is what I've done. I've just started doing streams, multi-platform streams on Kick, YouTube, and Twitch. I intend that I'll most likely be streaming on Twitch primarily and uploading clips to YouTube, but we'll see how that plays out anyway, I guess. But I always thought it would be very fun to be a YouTuber, and I put it off for a long time, and I just said, no, just play your games, stream them, have conversations, build your projects, share your hobbies, share your humanness to the world, because eventually there won't be any jobs left, and I want a leg up in the new creator economy, I suppose, so I don't just have to live on a subsistence wage on my universal basic income. Get a head start, get out there. That being said, given that I've said even if you have a shitty webcam like this and these graphics, which you would have seen in the last video if you had watched the last video, probably a very low amount of people worked to make this graphic occur. The flat background image and the sparkling crystals and the moire pattern on the lines, and we're going to get into a little bit on this stream, making just a little bit extra to make it move. And this is basically my holding pattern. I thought it's kind of low effort and easy, and I can do it in front of my computer, and it shows off a creative side without having to plug up all of my audio equipment and fuck around for a large amount of hours in order to do something and show off, things about myself. Anyway, without further ado, start a YouTube channel, even if all you have is a shitty webcam, because you can upgrade. But the biggest challenge is starting. And you'll put it off. You'll put it off until you have this, until I have that, until I've got a better space, until I'm ready. I'm not quite ready. I don't have the 100% idea. The content that I'm putting out isn't perfect or 100% what I want it to be. Just throw caution to the wind and start. Anyway, that being said, yes, I have a shitty webcam, and if you've watched any of my streams, which is probably a very small amount of you, you'll have noted that, yeah, I have this shitty webcam. Goddamn shitty webcam. But, hooray, I actually got a DJI Osmo Pocket, and I have just been fricking around with it before I started the stream, because I don't know if this is an issue on other platforms, but using it as a webcam, I've had to not only unplug it and replug it into a USB port to make it work, but I have to unplug it and replug it into a new USB port. Not a new USB port every time, I just can't plug it into the last one. So I've been screwing around trying to get that to work and trying to write a script that I can use to kill all the USB channels so that I don't have to crawl under my computer each and every time that there's a problem and it needs to be replugged. But here we go. We're going to go into HD. The channel is going into HD, and then I'm going to show you a little bit on a project that I've been building, which is a series of amplifier racks. And an upgrade that I'm going to do it, which is serial production. You know, you build one thing and it's okay, could be better. You build two, the second one's definitely better, but if you built, you know, 3 or 4, at that point you've got your process down. You know, this is something that Adam Savage from Tested says, serial production and working out and implementing efficiencies into your workflow to increase your output and increase the quality of your output. So I'm just going to take you through a project, not in full, but just as a teaser, because I'm probably going to build it on camera tomorrow. And without further ado, we'll move the channel into HD. Oh, that's just a button for this one, isn't it? You ready? Bam! Wow. There you go. That's what I look like. And the tracking works. It's awesome. How cool is that? Okay. So, first, I'm not going to screw around trying to get this script to make this camera work without replugging and unplugging it. But I'm going to show you this patch panel that I've made, and what I'm working on presently is a bunch of fans, because the amplifiers that I'm putting in the amplifier rack are passively cooled. They don't actually have fans in them, but I'm putting a bunch of them in there, and I want to ensure that they have enough airflow so that their passive radiators have enough fresh air to be able to cool themselves properly. So I'm just going to show you that first before we move on. So here, how's the best way to show this? This is the patch panel. So this is upside down, I think, technically. So I've built this out of parts. Just a blank rack patch panel, plus XLR, plus beacon, plus fans. Just gotta move it close to me. There's a little fan controller knob here. The fans are here. XLR in and XLR out, plus speakon out, and the speakon is wired to take 2 sets of stereo channels over the one, because they have 4 connectors per connector, But we'll look at the back if I can, trying to mitigate this nest here. But this is the fans in the back, and the back of the fan controller, in which, that's hard to do, the USB there, if you can see it, it plugs into a USB cable, and that plugs into a little power brick. Now, it's an okay job. Everything's heat shrinked. But what I noticed when I put these fans in with these bolts, that they start rubbing in a manner that is undesirable. And so that's the fan that is in there, purchased off of AliExpress. I thought it would be a lot better than it was, but unfortunately it was not good enough. There you go. That's a good way to do that. That's why people do that. Little tiny baby fan. So that's why when the flexion occurs... Oh, you're trying to look at my face, yeah? When the flexion occurs, it causes the fan to rub on the molding. So what I got instead, also off of AliExpress, are these X server fans. And these are thick boys. And what we're going to do, instead of the loose wires that are heat shrunk together and soldered underneath, we're going to use a set of these to solder onto each individual fan. And that's going to be what we solder them onto. We're going to cut them, bam, get the wires out, solder them on. They'll have connectors, and the connector will attach to the fan module, and the fan module has a 4-pin connector on the back. As described. Yes, I'm still here. Don't stress, camera. It's okay. And that accepts a USB-C for power. So that'll be powering the fans and giving PWM control over the fans, which will increase the serviceability whenever there's issues. I also have a little set of filters that I will be installing in there to gather up all the dust, so I have something that is nice and easy to clean, nice and easy to service, easy to unplug and disassemble if necessary, and improve the build substantially. And I'm going to do that on camera tomorrow, which is a part of my philosophy of just start, do the thing. If you've always wanted to start a channel or be creative or stream or play a game or do whatever, just do it. Just start the thing. Be bad at it. Get better over time. Enjoy yourself. Eventually there won't be any jobs left other than, oh god, I can only imagine it'll be human goes into incredibly small crawl space that, fuck it, even robots can do that. Come on, man, let's be real. We're all getting replaced with robots. Anyway, so in line with the discussion about starting a YouTube channel, just do it. Let's go over to the main here. So, private equity, what is it? Basically, it's a bunch of businesses that own a bunch of businesses. They buy out stakes in businesses and generally cut corners or add efficiencies in order to increase the output of the business while decreasing the costs that go into creating the output that the business was originally putting out. Now, when it comes to YouTube, these businesses buy YouTube channels, and I wouldn't necessarily say gut them. In some cases, they do gut them and um, do a poor job of maintaining the status quo of what made that channel successful in the first place. I think a good example of that is probably um, Donut. They got bought out by a private equity firm, and that's when I'm pretty sure that's when you started seeing all the gambling ads and big like advertisements for cars and motor oil, or just like anything to make money. And I think that's why a lot of the creators left to go make the big time channel, which is, I wouldn't say it's at the core of what Donut were originally, because originally it was just James Pumphrey in front of a green screen, talking about cars that he liked. And then it grew, and gosh, what's his name? The guy with the reload sound on his glasses. Fuck. I'm sorry, man. Sorry if I wasn't sitting here in front of a camera using all of my 2 brain cells to talk at it, that I would remember. Oh, it's gonna do my head in. Then he came along, and then it just continued to grow and grow, and then they had writers, and then they got bought out, and for a while there they had a lot of money, and they were capable of doing cool builds, and it was a good channel. But eventually it kind of lost the spirit that made it interesting to watch in the first place. And James Pumphrey now has Speed, which that's kind of what I'm going for. Like, I'm probably not going to do anything relating to modifying combustion vehicles, but the variety of stuff that guy makes is cool and interesting and enjoyable. And variety is the spice of life. So you should get out there and make stuff. Another example would be Veritasium, Task and Purpose, Fern. What's this one? The Theorists. Here's a list. I knew about Veritasium, didn't know about Astrum. I do like Astrum. I do still like Veritasium. They're doing a good job. Astrum, I don't know if I was watching it long enough. I think I've probably only watched it while they've been owned by private equity. Fern, I love Fern. I did notice a heavy unification of their art style, and across their partner channels. You used to see video to video, different graphics, different kind of styles, each and every time, but now it seems very unified, very streamlined. I mean, that's good for them. They're still putting out good content. I wouldn't hate anyone for selling their channel, or selling their channel partially to private equity to get the cash injection that they need to build a better platform. I just kind of cringe when it comes to, like, Donut. They very much lost their spirit, and I feel like all of the stuff that's come out lately is kind of more on the cheap side. I don't know. Is it really just because you don't have all that cash from the gambling promotions? I don't know. It just feels, I know that a lot of who's watching your channel is young men, and I think gambling is a very predatory industry, and sure, it might enable you to do the content that you want to do, but I don't know, you just got to weigh it up against how it makes you feel inside, I suppose. Task and Purpose, yeah, that was one that I was aware of, and basically as soon as it happened, I stopped watching Task and Purpose. I hate the new guy, and I immediately started watching Cappy Army on his channel. Just your average infantryman, So, that being said, that being known and true, that's what we know. That's the channels that we know that have been bought out by private equity. There's probably heaps that we don't know, more that we'll learn about yet. So I think that there's never been a better time to get out there and be a lowbrow creator and do the best that you can and try to build something up and start out and just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, you know what I mean? Upgrade your equipment slowly over time, increase your professionalism slowly over time, and find that audience. I think, you know, streaming is a very good way to get into it. I started out streaming as a means for like low barrier of entry, and have tried to make a few little cuts out of it that could be their own little standalone video. And I've seen some news stories and tried to do some science communication. um, I know that by and large I'm putting out really, really long content that maybe not a lot of people are going to watch. um, but right now I still have to work, you know, 5 to 6 days a week, earning money to pay rent. So this is my means to get into a content creation pathway and forge ahead and start something. So I encourage everybody to try, at least if you've always thought about it and always thought it would be cool and fun. And given that I've just bought this camera, this DJI Osmo Pocket 4 camera. It only just came out on the 22nd of April. I have seen on Marketplace a very large number of Osmo Pocket 3 for sale, very cheap, because a lot of people are buying the 4 and selling the 3. So right now, the market is oversaturated with people trying to sell Osmo 3s, and they're still very comparable. Basically does most of all of the stuff that you would want, that you could get out of the 4. I think there's like only marginal increases in the abilities of the Osmo 4 over the Osmo 3. And if you want, think about this: if you're starting out and you're going to spend money on a 4K streaming camera or a 2K streaming camera, a webcam, for example, those alone will run you like $300-400. And one of these Osmos, brand new, the Pocket 4, cost $950 if you can still get one. I know that they're in high demand and sold out on the website. I managed to get this on Amazon. Or you can try and find a Osmo 3 for cheap. Maybe someone's selling one in your area and you can get lucky. I had a look. I saw someone selling one for 350 AUD and others for 400. If not, I don't know, maybe a Pocket 2 is good enough. Haven't looked into it. I was going to get an Osmo 3, and then I learned, oh damn, Osmo 4 is coming out in a few days. Get a pre-order in. And I did, and I have it, and I actually love it. And it opens up the opportunity to make content that isn't just streaming. I can use it for streaming, but I can also use it for not streaming and break out from that, and have a more flexible workflow for starting out. And this thing is good, I tell you what. A lot of people say that you can replace an expensive camera with just one of these, and I think if you take into consideration the shortcomings that it does have and plan around them, definitely. So this is your message. This is your sign. Start a YouTube channel. If you've been thinking about it, just do it. Do it. Even if you have a terrible, terrible webcam, like, where did it go? Like I had over here. No, number 3. Number 4. Like this. Even if you have a bad webcam. This webcam cost me $40-50 from Officeworks. Anyway, let's go back to to the Osmo. Much better. You can see my pores, man. That's crazy. Right, so anyway,